Well, two gas pipelines owned by Russian company Nord Stream suffered major leaks on Friday. Europe opened an investigation into the attacks, potential attacks, which several European leaders, including Sweden's and Denmark's prime ministers, suggested were an act of sabotage, although there's no proof of that yet.
Nord Stream wanted to carry natural gas under the Baltic Sea from Russia to Germany, but the pipelines are inactive as Russia cut off gas deliveries after it was sanctioned for invading Ukraine in February. Officials are still investigating what caused the leaks, but seismologists in Denmark and Sweden say they seem to be from blasts and not from, say, an earthquake or a landslide. Yeah.
So Nord Stream 2, by the way, has never actually been active. It was completed, and then the Ukraine conflict happened. Yeah, so this is interesting.
Yeah, so people have been pointing to a clip of Biden, Aaron Mate, among others, other journalists. Biden said in February of this year, if Russia invades, then there will no longer be a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it. A reporter then asked Biden, but how will you do that exactly since the project is in Germany's control? And Biden replied, I promise you we will be able to do that.
Yeah, let's play that clip. Do we have it? Let's play it.
If Russia invades, that means tanks or troops crossing the border of Ukraine again. Then there will be no longer a Nord Stream 2. We will bring an end to it.
Yeah, so, okay, look, the theory being that, well, we said we would do something to stop it, so is this, malfeasance from U.S. forces? Obviously, in the past, U.S. agents have done, again, we have libertarian left disagreement, has done sabotage and things like that. It would not be wild for our CIA, I'm thinking of the DEA, which I was bashing for other reasons.
All acronyms are bad.
All bad. Government acronyms, not a fan. Okay, it could also just be, it could be an accident. It could be, Russians are a little distracted right now. They're not keeping their pipeline up and running. They're not, I don't know what technology that needs to be up. They forgot to change the tire or something.
Yeah, look, as the kids say.
But I'm not being naive here. I see what it sounds like. Yeah,
it's not a good look. And on top of that, there's a Polish MEP who's married to a senior American official who tweeted a picture of the bubbles coming up from the pipeline.
Yeah, I think we had him on screen just then.
Okay, saying thank you USA. And people are being like, what's the meme? He admitted, like there is a definite narrative that's being strung along, regardless of whether or not it is borne out with more substantiation.
I love this New York Times headline. Pipeline breaks look deliberate, Europeans say.
Right. So, this is a really interesting moment in the context of all of the framing of, Russia as a uniquely bad actor, as someone who was unprovoked in all of this versus a more kind of left critique that says, obviously it's wrong to invade another country and it's a violation of international law. At the same time that it's a lie to say that it was unprovoked, given the increasing escalations around the growth of NATO. And, to the extent that America's been trying to make the case that it has been hands off in this region and, I have nothing to do with this and this is completely Russian aggression and we're not involved and we're not doing hegemonic things across the globe. This is pointing some fingers in the other direction. And it will be interesting to see what, if any, response we get from the administration.
Yeah. Yeah, you got it. Occam's razor. You have to go with the most plausible explanations for things. The most plausible explanation here is sabotage. Mm-hmm. This is what all of the experts, pipeline safety experts, people on the ground in Europe, are saying. This looks like it was done deliberately. So really the question is, well, who did that then? And there are, many that you could see Russia doing this. You could see us doing this. You could see, some.
But what's the incentive for Russia to do something like this? They're the ones who want their oil to be bought by Europe, who's going into a
but we're not doing
winter.
it anyway, right? Where we've put the kibosh on that.
Right, but there's a political kibosh where we're just hoping that NATO's fealty to the United States is stronger than their energy needs as they head into winter. And then there's strategy with little force behind it.
So if we did this, does this count as like an act of war? But if we did this
against Against Germany, against whom exactly?
Right.
It's Germany's pipeline.
Well, right, it's Germany's pipeline. Yeah, but it's to stop them from receiving gas from Russia.
This is the problem with this proxy war
I guess
malarkey.
It's not.
Everybody, there are no clear. There's no honor in any of this.
Yeah.
Everyone hides behind plausible deniability, which you understand on some level, since the implications here of a direct conflict between nuclear powers are huge, as we talked about yesterday. There is a legitimate nuclear threat here that experts have been warning about for a really long time. Russia is saying the strategic significance of Ukraine is enormous as compared to what it is for the United States of America and the West, precisely because of issues like this, like with this pipeline and what it means for Russia's oil reserves and its ability to be bought, its oil to be bought by Europe, a primary market. And so for America to be intervening in this way, if it is proven to be intervening in this way, or if Putin presumes or takes on its own intelligence authority that this was America's action, it could have extremely dire consequences, and it's an extremely significant provocation.
Well, and I think we would risk ruining our relationship with our supposed European allies, but for the reason you just said. Now not only are we kind of interfering in this conflict, but we're interfering with our own allies' energy plans. And look, maybe relying on Russia for energy is not a good plant given what's going on. And
neither is relying on Saudi Arabia. Neither is all of the things that we do. We can't pick where the oil comes up in the ground and what governments are around it. Although, as we see, America's trying very hard to pick exactly that, to control.
That is exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
It's we'll have to wait and see. I hope this does not become. This is not like the thing in the very casual acceleration of some larger global conflict akin to like. The Franz Ferdinand assassination or something.
Right. Oh, God, can you imagine?
I can imagine. I very much can.
So we ran through this tweet a little bit earlier. Aaron Mate tweeting out his take, saying that on September 17th, Putin said that if he wants to solve the issue, it can ignore U.S. orders and open up the Nord Stream 2 pipeline. Just push the button and everything will get going. Putin said, instead, someone bombed it.
Yeah.
Again, your Occam's razor point, I think, is right. I think that nobody wants to jump to conclusions here, but in the absence of an alternative explanation, this is what people are going to be looking at.
And the thing is, it's not like we are in a fog of war situation where like facilities could be, if this was like an on-the-ground facility in Eastern Europe, I'd say, well, they're accidentally shelling the wrong thing, or like, who knows?
Who knows?
Or it could be either side because it could be accidental.
Sure.
I mean, it could be deliberate in that human beings did it. It was not
sure, and there's
earthquake.
False flag accusations.
But there's all sorts of, and we have to sort through all these different, but this is in the water. I don't know.
So you think there's limited ability for only so many people can. This isn't an accident. This isn't,
Well, and they're not having a naval battle above the pipeline where someone accidentally torpedoes.
I don't know if that's
well, I don't know
how the vulnerability of these pipes make work, but yeah, we'll definitely
see people, Ukrainians and Russians in scuba gear underneath the pipeline doing some kind of undersea battle.
Yeah, look, we will definitely be continuing to follow this, because if a journalist at a press briefing doesn't ask a follow-up question directly on this issue, the whole lot of them need to be fired because they're not doing their job. So let's see what Karine Jean-Pierre has to say about this in the coming days. We'll have more Rising for you coming up next.